everyone, my name is Putri Oktaviani. I'm from International Class of Economic Education in Universitas Negeri Padang. And now I will explain the material about learning media. Check this out. Learning media. Our subtopic. First, the concept of learning media, learning resources, and teaching aids. Second, learning media as a component of the learning system. Third, functions or benefits usage of learning media. And the last is learning media and technology. First, concept of learning media, learning resources, and teaching aids. Learning media. Learning media are everything that can be used to channel message or learning materials so that they can stimulate students' attention, interest, thoughts, and feelings in learning activities to achieve certain learning goals. B. Learning resources. Learning resources is anything that can be used to channel message or learning materials so that it can stimulate the attention, interest, thoughts, and feelings of students in learning activities to achieve certain goals. C. Teaching aids. Teaching aids are tools that can be demonstrated in teaching and learning activities and serve as assistants to clarify the concept or understanding of examples of objects. The presence of teaching aids can eliminate barriers to the dimensions of the time and space so that students have the flexibility of access to learning resources that will enable them to understand a concept accurately and thoroughly. Second, learning media as a component of the learning system. Learning media in general is a tool for teaching and learning process. Everything that can be used to stimulate those feelings, attention, and abilities or skills of the learner so that it can encourage the learning process. This limitation is quite broad and depth, covering the understanding of the sources, environment, people, and methods used for a learning or training purpose. Because the learning process is a communication process and takes place in a system, the learning media occupies a fairly important position as one of the components of the learning system. Without the media, communication will not occur and the learning process as a communication process will also not be able to take place optimally. Learning media is an integral component of the learning system. From the explanation, it can be considered that the learning media are everything that can channel message, can stimulate the those feelings and willingness of students so that they can encourage the creations of a learning process in students. According to Edgar Dell, in the world of education, the use of learning media often uses the cone of experience principle, which requires media such as textbooks, learning materials made by teachers, and audiovisual. And next, functions or benefits of learning media. First, help the learning process that takes place between educators. With students, not all learning materials can be delivered verbally, but need other tools that can help send message or materials concept to the students. Educators are helped in conveying learning materials, while participants are helped and users to understand the concept of the material presented by educators so that the transfer of knowledge and transfer of value can be done optimally. And then increase the interest and motivation of students in the learning process. The curiosity and enthusiasm of students increases as well as interaction between students, educators, and learning resources that can occur interactively can help deliver abstract materials to become more concentrate. Some information and concept of complex abstract learning materials can not only be conveyed verbally, so that it's necessary to have tools in the form of learning media to convey the material concepts that are abstract, complex, and conveyed through the media. For example, in the form of stimulations, modeling, and prompts. and then can overcome the limitation of space, time, energy, and interest powers. Complex learning materials requires a long time and space for delivery. Therefore, learning media can be adapted to the characteristic of the materials so that these limitations can be overcome. For example, with online learning media, mobile learning-based learning, which can be done anytime and anywhere through the boundaries of space and time, learning materials can be accessed anytime and anywhere. And the last is learning media and technology. Learning media and technology is the terminology used to refer to the benefits of using information and communications technology in learning and teaching is technology-based learning and instructional system in which students acquire skills or knowledge. Therefore, research on higher education usually combines other trends such as electronic learning, e-learning, LMS, and mobile learning or learning in general. The development of ICT has changed the nature of communications, entertainment, buying and learning flexible, accessible, affordable, and without temporal or spatial limitations. More traditional resources have been positioned as a fundamental part of teaching and learning, thus that pedagogy is increasingly dynamic because this learning media must be responsive, evolve with innovative teaching and learning with the help of dots. Therefore, the application of this learning media and technology evolves the need and thus is increasingly adopted in universities. For example, open online courses use social media platforms to engage students, which allow them to jointly create knowledge in the collective learning process as well as online learning. Management system has been successfully used to improve the quality of education, and the use of the tablet computers has been found and to increase students' performance and engagement levels. This application of learning media and technology has changed conventional learning mechanism and can be considered as innovative as well as disruptive. And yeah, this is the references I get the material. These references get from books and a journal. Thank you. And the next is classification. And the next is classification of learning media according to expert: physical characteristic, conscientious elements, learning experience, and their uses. Second, types of learning media, and the last is characteristic of learning media. Now I will discuss about classification of learning media according to expert. First, Wilbur Scrum classify into three, namely complex media, expansive, and simple media. Scrum also classifies media according to ability of coverage power, namely broad and simultaneous coverage such as TV, radio, facsimile. And then coverage is limited to the room such as films, videos, slides, posters, audio, types, and then media for individual studies such as books, modules, study and programs, and others. And second is gauge, classifying into seven groups, namely subjects, objects to be demonstrated, oral communications, print media, still image, moving image, sound film, and machine learning. The seven groups of learning media are associated with their ability to fulfill functions according to the developed learning hierarchy, namely educating, learning, stimulative, attracting, interest in learning, examples of learning behavior, providing external conditions, guiding ways of thinking, incorporating knowledge transfer, assessing achievement, and providing feedback. And third is Edgar Dell. The media classified according to students' learning experience, namely from concentrate experience to abstract ones. Fourth, Allen's classified into 9 media groups, namely silent visual, film, television, three-dimensional objects, recording, program, lessons, demonstration, print textbooks, and oral presentations. And then is Abraham. Media are grouped based on size on the complexity of the tools and equipment into 5 groups, namely media without two-dimensional projections, media with three-dimensional projection, audio media, projection media, television, video, and computer. And then is types of learning media. First, visual media. Visual media is a tool or learning resources which concentrate message, informations, especially subject matter that is present in interesting and creative way and is applied as using the science of psych. So this visual media cannot be used by the public. More preciously, this media cannot be used by the blind because this media can only be used with the sense of sight. Second, audio media. Audio media or listening media is a type of learning media research the content, message, or subject matter that is present in interesting and creative way as is applied using the sense of hearing only because this media is only in the form of sound. Third, audio visual media is a type of learning media or learning resource that contains message or subject matter that is made interestingly and creatively by using the sense of hearing and sight. This media is in the form of sound and image. And the last is characteristic of learning media. According to our chart, every media has certain characteristics, both in the terms of its capabilities, how to make it, how to use it, and understanding the characteristic of various teaching media is a basic ability that must be possessed by teachers in relation to the skill of selecting teaching media. Besides that, it gives the possibility for teachers to use various types of teaching media in a variety of ways. Meanwhile, if they do not understand the characteristic of the media, the teacher will be faced with the difficulties and tend to be speculative. Before using media in the learning process, the teacher must understand the characteristic, types, and grouping of the media to be used. The teacher must convince himself that the media to be used will provide a positive value to the quality of the learning he will do. And this is the references I get the material. Thank you. That's all about my explanations. Thanks for your attention, guys. See you in the next video. Dadah!